When you get started with the company, there are a lot of things to learn. It's not that complicated, but there are cultural things that happen, from definitions to terminology within the marketing plan itself. In order to be able to run your business efficiently, we want to make sure that you're up to speed on each of these definitions and requirements. So let's take a look at the unfranchised business key terms and definitions, specifically as it relates to the marketing plan. I think a lot of people, when they first see the marketing plan, hear all of this stuff, and they think, oh, the marketing plan is so complicated. It's actually a very simple marketing plan. You basically are going to develop 10 to 15 customers and establish 2 points of distribution, rinse and repeat. That's basically it. What you do, you help 2 people do. And it goes over and over and over again like that. But the conversation about how that works and verbiage and the culture is really what we want to take a look at, so you're very clear and takes away that feeling of maybe how complicated things might be. The first step, obviously, in the marketing plan is to apply. Like anything, it's like get a driver's license. Remember how exciting it was when you're 16 or 15, you got your learner's permit and then driver's license, and you had the business, the vehicle you could drive? Well, Market America is just like that. We have an application process that is going to get you started. It's going to give you a vehicle to drive as it relates to your financial freedom. And being in business for yourself is a lot of fun. When you get started with Market America, you're going to open a business development center as an independent distributor. There's actually going to be 2 ways you can get started. One is as a sales rep that actually doesn't cost you any cash out of pocket, but what it does is allows you to purchase product at a wholesale price and earn gross retail profit. The independent distributor, let's talk about it quickly here. When you get started, you actually are going to have a yearly subscription fee that you begin. I also should point out that when you have the subscription fee, you're going to have certain policies and procedures that you're going to be asked to keep. As an unfranchised owner, just like a franchise, we have a way of doing business and expectations that we know works, as well as we as business owners want to make sure you're protected. For instance, with our system, when you get started, you are expected to do things Market America's way. We have certain requirements that you meet as far as amount of money, sales that you need to generate. We have a certain performance level called the Management Performance Compensation Plan, where you will manage and teach, train, and motivate your organization. You're also going to find that some of the material that we're going to be talking about throughout this training is time sensitive. So you're going to want to be able to get things done in a timely manner. Basically, when you get started, we want you to do things the unfranchised way. We don't want you taking information that's proprietary and moving out of our company and trying to do something with another company or on your own that would be in direct competition with what we're doing. When you get started, there will be a complete policy and procedures page that I suggest you review and look at, and you're going to find it's very simple and it's very common sense as you get started with it. So let's get back to this whole application process here. When you establish your business development center, you're going to have a business development center in the database with our company. You'll then have access to our complete mall without walls. It's one of the most genius ideas that has ever been in the marketing history of mankind and the movement of product. You will have access to an ever-growing availability of product line that you can personally use and move to the end consumer. Started as well, what happens is Market America is going to allow you to have a spot in the computer system at the company that you'll be identified by a 9-digit distributor ID number followed with a 3-digit extension. For example, 123456789-001. You can own multiple business centers, so what happens is the company allows you to build and build and build as much as you want, but we're going to start out talking today about your 001. All right? If you had a second one, it'd be referred to as your 002. You're going to be assigned a rep ID, and you're going to also set up a password for accessing all your personal unfranchised management criteria. I do want to make one note here. We oftentimes talk about being an unfranchised owner. There is a certain requirement as outlined in the UFO system or program in order to become an unfranchised owner. Until that's completed, you actually you're referred to as an independent distributor. If you want to know more information about how to become a UFO, or an unfranchised owner, I recommend you go to your back office to Unfranchised Business Account, go to Downloads, go to Administrative, and then you can print off the UFO booklet. All right, and that will take care of that. So let's take a look at business centers as we go along here. If you come in with a single business center, you have one BDC, and it's created by submitting an application with a subscription fee. There actually at that time is no initial order required, but I would recommend highly that you get that requirement of qualification done as quickly as possible. You are not allowed and not permitted. It's very important to note this because some people are not aware of it, and it's very important to understand that when you start with a single business, you are not allowed to upgrade to what we call a master unfranchise. That's not permitted. So what is a master unfranchise owner? That's where you're able to use one of the greatest leveraging pieces we have from the very beginning. And you can get started with 3 business development centers. You're going to find out, though, there is a order requirement at the beginning that you must fulfill. First of all, you have your subscription fee from the application, and it must accompany, the application must accompany with an order of at least 300 business volume of product or services. You would put 200 BV into your 001 extension. You would have a minimum of 50 business volume that you'd place in your 002, and a minimum of 50 business volume to be placed in your 003. So let's take a look at how this. Each business center, as you know, has a left and a right side. So if you're looking at your 001, once it's qualified, you have those business volume banks you see there in the red and the light green or yellow. That would be a single entry. You'd begin building on the left of the one and the right of the one. When you have a master unfranchised entry, what's going to happen is you will have the ability to begin with 3 businesses. Just know it takes a little more commitment, but with that is a huge reward in leveraging. I like personally to get everybody I have that qualifies to be able to start this way, because what happens is later on when you want to make more money, you've already gotten positioned, business that has been accomplished. Eventually, every single business center must have 600 business volume in it to be fully qualified. Initially, though, we're going to build it as if we have one business, placing someone on the left of our 2 and someone on the right of our 3, which in turn is going to activate your 001. And we'll talk more about that in just a minute. At this point, once you initially develop the 2 sales organizations, begin earning commissions on your 001, and your 001 then also will be the only business center that has ongoing requirements. As we talk about this marketing plan and how it unfolds, feel free to go back and listen to this and review any of the things that may not have come across to you the first time. All right, creating business volume. We have the ability to move any product. We do have some terminology associated with that. One is called business volume, or BV, and the other is called incentive business volume, or IBV. Business volume is a unit price, or points, if you will, assigned to the exclusive MA branded products. Let me give you an example. Let's say I bought one of our high-level skincare products called Pentaxel. It's an advanced skincare treatment that is gets amazing results, very affordable. The distributor cost on this is going to be $52. The suggested retail is going to be $72.50. You're going to have a $20.50 profit right off the top. So you're going to sell it for $72.50. You're going to buy it for $52. That's a $20.50 profit. With that product line, there is 47 business volume. So the distributor cost is 52. Associated with that distributor cost is a business volume of 47. That 47 BV is used to calculate commissions. When we talk about the accumulation of volume, that's what we're referring to, is the business volume amount. Now, the incentive business volume is the unit value or points assigned to any of our partner store brands. That, just like the BV, is also used to accumulate commissions and calculating plan and how it unfolds. Feel free to go back and listen to this and review any of the things that may not have come across to you the first time. All right, creating business volume. We have the ability to move any product. We do have some terminology associated with that. One is called business volume, or BV, and the other is called incentive business volume, or IBV. Business volume is a unit price, or points, if you will, assigned to the exclusive MA branded products. Let me give you an example. Let's say I bought one of our high-level skincare products called Pentaxel. It's an advanced skincare treatment that is gets amazing results, very affordable. The distributor cost on this is going to be $52. The suggested retail is going to be $72.50. You're going to have a $20.50 profit right off the top. So you're going to sell it for $72.50. You're going to buy it for $52. That's a $20.50 profit. With that product line, there is 47 business volume. So the distributor cost is 52. Associated with that distributor cost is a business volume of 47. That 47 BV is used to calculate commissions. When we talk about the accumulation of volume, that's what we're referring to, is the business volume amount. Now, the incentive business volume is the unit value or points assigned to any of our partner store brands. That, just like the BV, is also used to accumulate commissions and calculate commissions. What we're looking to do is start to create this volume. This is probably what you need to be aware of how to do effectively, is create your 10 to 15 preferred customers. And BV is going to be created when you place an order for products from our Mall Without Walls. You are trained, you should know when you get started, you're going to be trained and assisted on using and implementing each of these methods and techniques. Think about it. When you get started in any other business in life, there is nobody that's going to be sharing information with you. They're, as a matter of fact, going to keep it from you because you are their competition. They will prevent you from getting their inside secrets because that would only diminish the amount of profit they would make. In our company, because we get 100% of the volume and we get 100% of the people's activity, we share information from person to person, focusing on the newest person in the business. You're going to be trained and assisted on using and implementing each of the methods and techniques that we talk about. When you also get started as an independent distributor, your customers are now going to have access to start buying product as well, and they're going to be generating volume for you on that level. We actually provide through our business, through this web portal, these merchandising techniques, the ultimate online destination for each of your customers to go to. It's critical as we talk about this step here of creating business volume. It's important to know that your relationship with your customers is critical. It's going to be important that you identify a need they have and that you help them meet that need. It's going to take ongoing dialogue and conversation with them, maybe cards during the holidays, maybe frequent phone calls, anything to maintain that relationship. Because what's going to happen is your customers will end up buying more and more product, allowing you to be more and more profitable, and the security of your business will continue to grow as well. Remember, it's not about how many customers you get, it's about how much product that each customer has. And selling more products to fewer people is very efficient, it's profitable, and it's really a time-honored approach that's almost being disregarded anymore. The old approach was selling mass marketing, where you pitch product to get millions to buy one thing. We're trying to get one person. Business volume. All business volume is personal business volume for the business development center it is placed in. Personal business volume does not, though, accrue in the banks of the business development center in which it is placed. You're paid on everything below the business center itself. So when you have your 001 and volumes placed into the 001, it does not count towards commission. It's initially, though, used to qualify that business development center. It's also used for quarterly personal business volume requirements. It's also used to exercise the monthly accrual option. So all the volume, that's how you have to consider it. So every individual who has business placed in their business development center is considered personal business volume. So how are commissions paid? Well, you're paid on the group business volume. All personal business volume is going to flow up to the next business development center that's connected to the one below it. So all that business volume is going to continue to flow up, and it counts as group business volume into the banks, of which then is used to calculate commissions. You need to remember, this is the main point about all this. Everything below your business center, you get 100% of the group business volume as long as you maintain your business development center and satisfy your monthly and quarterly requirements. And we're going to review those requirements here shortly. Let's talk about what distributor cost is. Distributor cost is what you simply pay for the product and service in which you get. Suggested retail then is the amount of profit, if you will. You're going to sell it at retail and then be able to get paid retail profit on the difference between wholesale and retail. Profit is income that you've earned. Don't forget that. That's a valuable piece. Do not devalue your products. I really want to make a strong point here. As you're out moving your products, please do not sell them below the manufacturer's suggested retail price. When you do that, you undercut your profitability, you undercut the profitability of your organization, and you are starting down a path that will be very difficult for your group to ever be successful based on the fact that you have implemented a cutthroat approach to selling product. Your net retail profit is going to cover all of your overhead and your operating expenses. I mean, think about it. You're going to have costs for some of your training. You're going to have costs for travel. I know when you work off the internet, you have a cable bill, if you will, or a internet connection bill. You got those costs. You got printer ink. I mean, there's costs to doing business and just operating normally. We want you cash flowing. We want this to be a profitable business right from the very, very start. I also noticed that long term, if you're trying to make $2,100 to $3,600 a week, if you don't follow moving product at a retail price, I've never seen anybody be able to make it. I'm just going to say that as a fellow independent distributor and unfranchised owner, that this is a critical piece to be able to make this work. And it's really, again, about selling more products to the same person, to your 10 to 15 customers. Okay? All right, let's go to step 3 of this business plan, which is to qualify. Very simple. All the products of your business development center accumulate towards completion of this third step. Most people, like it says on the bottom, the sooner you qualify, the sooner you'll be eligible to earn commissions and bonuses. A business development center becomes qualified after the accumulation of 200 points. Once it's been qualified, you notice the business volume banks will open up and you can start accruing volume. This requirement of 200 business volume only needs to happen one time. It's not needed to go over and over again. All right, so once it's done, it's a one-time requirement on each business center that you own. Let's take a look at what 200 BV might look like, because I really want you to be able to understand this that it's not that big a deal. A bottle of Simplexion is around 48 business volume as an example. Distributor cost 57, suggested retail 82.95. Very, very good profit, very high business volume as well. The Pentaxel we mentioned earlier in this conversation, right, has around 47 business volume. You look at our number one selling product, which is the OPC3, an incredible high-level antioxidant, free radical scavenger. You get 43.5 BV with that product. You got the multivitamin, right, a 300-gram bottle, you're going to get 31 business volume. The B complex, 300-gram bottle, is around 30 business volume. So what happens here, to get the 200 business volume, you're really looking at about 5 products to be able to do that. Things that people are already using and things that you can turn around and retail sell. So that's how you really have to look at the initial qualifying order, is like ties on the tie rack. It gives you the ability to be able to sell product and to personally use it to gain the experience with that product. Now, another terminology is the start date. Your start date is the day when an application is entered into Market America and an independent distributor is created in the database. All right? It's really used to determine if your annual renewal is required in the first year or not. It also acts as the Q date if you are a sales rep instead of an independent distributor. Qualification date, now listen carefully, your start date could be any day, but your qualification date is the Friday of the week in which the distributor's initial business development center became qualified. This is the date for which both monthly and quarterly requirements are based. This date will never change as long as you remain active with the company. I suggest at this time you take out your Getting Started guide and record in there your start date and your Q date. All right, so you may have had your business registered on a Monday. That would be a start date, for example. Friday of the week that your business was registered and had 200 business volume in its 001 will be your Q date. So take a look at the calendar and now stop and enter those into your Getting Started guide. If you do not have your Getting Started guide, I suggest you write down a note for homework, have the person who introduced you to this business or your upline executive coordinator make sure that those dates are completed and that you have that information. That's going to be very, very critical as we begin moving forward. What happens is we take those Q dates, those qualification dates, and we use those to make sure that the quarterly requirements are met. So based on the distributor's Q date, also called the 3 Q date period, that's how we figure sales requirements. For a sales rep and unqualified distributors, it's based on the start date. All right, so until you get to 200 business volume in your 01, you simply are going to use 3 start date periods to meet your sales requirement. Okay, so Market America Week, let's just talk about that. It's going to begin on the Saturday following your anniversary date. And it's going to end on the Friday at midnight following the anniversary date 3 months later. All right, so you're going to look at the Friday of the week, your start date happened, and then you will go to the next month, find that qualification date, look at the Friday, go to the next month, find the qualification date, look at the Friday, go to the next month, look at the qualification date, and then the Friday. That Friday of that 3rd Q date period will be considered the end of the 90-day period for you. So let's take a look at a calendar here as I go back over this again with you. Let's say you register your business on January 5th as you're looking at this calendar. That'll be your start date. Your Q date would be January 9th. So 3 Q date periods is what we're looking for. The start of that quarter will be January 10th. Okay, so we're going to take January 9th, your qualification day, and look for February 9th, which is a Monday. The end of that first quarter will be the end of the Friday. The next month will be March 9th quarter, or the second Q date period. Then we look at April 9th, which is the 3rd Q date period. At the end of that time, what you're going to do is you're going to look at your Q date period then would be from Saturday, January 10th until Friday, April 10th. Your quarter will always end on a Friday based on the Q date period. I recommend that you print off this calendar, that you sit down and mark out your Q date periods over the next 2 years, enter them into the Getting Started guide. Remember, the Market America week and quarter ends on midnight Friday, and they always start on Saturday, and I would put them in accordingly to do that. The next step is to activate. It's very exciting to realize the leveraging pieces that are in place already. When you activate, it's actually about building a relationship. Oftentimes, these people and business partners that you bring on are people that have been customers and now have talked to other people about the product, and they have brought that on in order to be able to, brought people on in order to be able to buy it wholesale and develop their own customer base. But process of activating is performed in conjunction with your 10 customers. Please don't think you got to do 10 customers and then activate. They're both done at the same time. Your emphasis here is about the leveraging point. We have people in the business who are fantastic retailers. I mean, they get started and they develop hundreds of customers. But it's really not leverage time because it requires more and more work on them to make more and more money. The activation process is really about establishing points of distribution to where you leverage time. Because if you look at this particular slide here and we talk about it briefly, when you get started, you're going to put your 10 to 12 hours of work in and have your 10 to 15 customers. You're going to bring on Tom, who does the exact same thing. He's going to have his customers, of which they're going to be purchasing from Tom. Sue's going to have her 10 to 15 customers, which they'll be purchasing from Sue. But you get credit for every dollar that's spent, and volume is then converted so you begin making commissions. When you spend your 10 hours, Tom spends his 10 hours, and Sue spends her 10 hours. That is equivalent to you working 30 hours that week while you still work your 10. It's a phenomenal leveraging system because it allows you to get paid on hours of work that you personally did not do. So the goal here is really to expand distribution and to bring on 2 new distributors per calendar quarter. So over the course of the year, you actually end up bringing on 8 personal new distributors. The first one's going to go on the left side of your business in order to activate you, and the second one will go on the right side of the business to activate you. And that could be on the right, then the left as well. But one's going to go on one side and one's going to go on the other side. At this point, what's going to happen is you become eligible to start earning commissions and bonuses based on the accrual of volume, both business volume and incentive business from the left and right side of your organization. I've often had people talk about, why are we structured the way we are? I mean, think about it. You can have a business structure any way you want it here. But we decided to use the structure where there's 2 people. The reason is because 2 is the smallest multiplier you can have with the greatest profit. And the greatest profit is what we're all after, isn't it? Statistics also show that the average person can successfully develop 2.8 organizations. Your objective with these people that you bring on then is to help them understand and implement as independent distributors a successful unfranchised business. Now remember, you will be managing an organization of customer managers and independent distributors. You are not just getting started and by yourself. We have a managed performance compensation plan. So here's kind of an interesting time for you to start thinking. We're looking at this from a definition point of view, but you really need to start thinking right now about people you know that would have an interest in making $300 to $3,600 a week of additional income. That would be interested in choosing the 2 to 3 year plan over the 45-year plan. Can you think of anybody that you could have evaluate this? It'd be a good time to take a pen and paper maybe and jot down a few of these names that have just popped into your head. Remember, once you've activated, that's when you become eligible to earn commissions and bonuses based on the accrual of that volume. Our management performance compensation plan gives us the greatest return on investment of both time and product moved. And so that's a critical piece to understand and to continue. Now, to remain an active independent distributor, we have 3 basic requirements, not very difficult at all. First one is you have a quarterly sales report called a Form 1000. Okay? It has to be on file once a quarter. And I just explained to you how you take the 3 Q day periods to make up your quarter. It must be done within that 90-day period in order for you to be able to maintain an active status with our company. Now, this is not a big problem. I mean, I'm thinking about any business out there, when you set up with your company and have a wholesale buying account with them, there's going to be sales requirement. I don't care if you owned a tire store. BF Goodrich would require that store to buy a certain amount of merchandise to maintain a wholesale buying club. When I had a painting business, the different accounts I had with the different paint suppliers required me to buy a certain amount of product to maintain a wholesale buying system. Our business is no different. Our biggest difference is, though, we're going to train and teach you how to get your 2 retail customers, which is a minimum requirement, to move $200 retail dollars in sales to 2 different people in a 90-day period. Then that form will be submitted. All of this will be done electronically right online. It's a very simple process to be able to go into your back office, submit the form, identify the customers, and have that requirement met. It's the simplest, smoothest, neatest process as far as taking care of paperwork that I've ever seen. The second requirement is you must place a minimum quarterly personal business volume amount of 150 business volume in any of your BDCs. I recommend it. You do it in your 001 in order to maintain and accrue volume. I also recommend, saying it here, we'll talk later about it, that you do 50 BV a month in order to be able to exercise the accrual option as it relates with our business plan. And that can be accomplished through the transfer buy, which we'll also talk about. You also must have a current subscription. It's an annual renewal. A renewal of your subscription is required each year. If your start date for the business is July 31st or earlier, then you will be required to renew by December 31st of that year. If your start date is August 1st or later of that current year, you do not need to renew until December 31st of the following year. I want to make a couple points to you that I think this is a critical, proactive way to look at this particular requirement. I'm trying to spend some dedicated time to this because this is the part of when I talked about systems requirements on purchasing, selling, and so on. This is the page I was referring to. I have my organization, and many leaders do the same thing, is make it as soon as you get your customers, you submit the Form 1000. Please don't be the person that's at 2 o'clock on Friday of the last day possible trying to get things submitted and it doesn't happen and it causes your volume to purge out. I want my people, as soon as they get their 2 customers, worst case, absolute worst case, I'm coaching you on the fact I want you to get this done within the first 60 days. My goal when I have people started is in the first 90 days, they're going to have all their customers, Form 1000 submitted. They're going to have 2 business partners on board and start accruing business volume. That way, what happens is it's very proactive, very profitable. Again, same thing with your annual renewal. Do not wait till the last second. When the fall gets here, put a date in your calendar, submit your annual renewal, and get. Let's talk a little bit about your managed performance compensation responsibilities. You're not paid on the fact that you have a wholesale buying account with our company. You're not paid on that. What you're paid on is commissions for managing, training, supplying, supporting, motivating your organization to produce retail sales volume. In order to get that volume done, they need to be a part of a team. This is a business where you earn why you learn. That education is passed on from the people who've already stepped forward ahead of you. They teach you how to do what you're supposed to do. It's actually a responsibility you have under our guidelines that are listed in Chapter 12, Section 1 of the Career Manual. Failure to perform the manager's responsibilities is actually grounds for corrective action by the company. Termination if it's been violated in a way that's not within our policy and procedures. All I'm trying to say here is we work together as a team. Nobody likes to be a part of a team where one person's doing all the work and everyone's been able to benefit. This is a business about all of us doing a little bit and all of us making a lot of money. So keep that in mind as we move forward. So here you are. You're starting to build your business and someone talks to you about your sponsor. Well, your sponsor is simply the independent distributor who introduced you to the business as indicated by the name you placed on the application. Your placement is where a business development center is located within the Market America genealogy. And we're going to specify what that is on the application by the new distributor sponsor. And this isn't really something you personally have to worry about if you just got started. It's something that your sponsor has to worry about as he works with you. But it's good to know that the next person is going to go in the next available position within the organization. Also referred to as linkage. You'll be linked to the next person. Matter of fact, my conversation oftentimes with people when I'm talking to them about the business is we have a business to where we are able to share profitability, and by referrals and by initiating business, we link you to each other and you get credit for all product that's moved. It's a linkage. You are linked to one another and share 100% of that volume. The Business Development Center, when you get started, can be placed on the left or the right side of another Business Development Center where there isn't currently one that exists. We call that open placement. You can go to your UFMS graphic genealogy report and just look for the list of open placements that are available. I highly recommend that you get with your executive coordinator above and talk about strategy of placement to make sure that you're leveraging the most effective strategy at this point. People that are building in your area definitely want to have the ability to talk to you about placement. So let's take a look at placement versus sponsorship. This is you when you get started. Okay? Let's say you sponsor Tom. The next available spot at that time was under the left of your 001. You personally sponsor Sue. That will actually be on the right of your 002. On the right side of your 001. I apologize for that. So what's happened on a single business center, which is displayed here, your first person sponsored, but on the left of your 01, and Sue's going to be the right of your 001. When Tom and Sue get started, they're going to place people under there. So let's say now you have brought on your third person. Let's say you've moved into the health professional status, and you bring on Dr. Jones. He's going to be personally sponsored by you. But notice, he cannot go directly under you because that location is already taken. We're going to take and place Dr. Jones in the next available position under Chris, on the left of Chris's 001. See how that is? Sponsorship is who personally is attached as meeting that requirement of personally sponsoring. Placement is the next available position. What happens on occasion, and it does not happen so much now that we have electronic business done, but if you try to place Dr. Jones in a position that's already taken, that would be considered an unlinked distributor. And usually that's done on a paper application instead of doing electronic. To correct this, you simply use a placement linkage correction form and take care of it. You can find under downloads. You can also find under the area of administration. You cannot count the Q date is not going to be determined until the linkage is corrected, by the way. So even though you submit it that week, it's going to be the week in which the company has his business center qualified. All right? Let's just keep moving here. Let's talk about the fifth step of the marketing plan: teach, manage, and support others. This is where you're going to be teaching your newly sponsored distributors to do what you are doing, okay, which multiplies your effort. You teach them how to apply, you teach them how to create, you teach them how to qualify, you teach them how to activate. And it's kind of funny, people lead to people, and some people get a little nervous about that you don't know anyone who would want to make money. Well, it's kind of interesting. Let's say that were the case. Well, think about in the last year. Have you met anybody new? Is there anybody you know this year that you did not know a year ago? Isn't that kind of interesting? Yes, is your answer. There's probably a lot of people you know that you didn't know a year ago. Well, how did you meet them? Someone introduced you, someone led to the next person, and so on. It could be through church, it could be through social organizations, it could be a sports league, it could be a variety of things. People lead to people. Please do not prejudge people as they lead to people. Your job here is really to simply get in relationships with people, find out the need they have, and have them evaluate the business, then bring them on. Business volume and incentive business volume are going to be generated as your organization expands. It's your job to manage that organization, and as it increases, your potential for income is going to increase as well. I think it's interesting to note here also, success through distribution is really one of the smartest methods of any business models out there. It's very hard for one single building to do as much business as 100 businesses. Wouldn't you agree? Same thing here. I would rather have 100 people, each with 10 customers, than I would one person, with 1,000 customers. What's going to happen here is we're looking to have you be the J. Paul Getty approach, if you will, where you'd rather have 1% of the efforts of 100 people, right, than 100% of your own effort. And in order to be successful, it's also important to notice here that you really have to have three things that take place, and we're able to accomplish that with this business model. Number one, you have to have a product that everybody wants and needs. We have millions of products that everybody wants and needs, and the numbers are increasing daily. We have multiple stores and multiple product lines within each university we have. Secondly, you got to be your own boss. Imagine that. Have you ever sat around and criticized and complained about your boss? Well, you can be your own boss. You don't have to take that anymore. You can do it yourself. And the next thing, the third way to be successful in business, besides having a product everybody wants and being your own boss, is simply to duplicate yourself. This business, I really want to encourage you at this point to check your ego and not make the focus about yourself. I highly encourage you as you duplicate yourself to make sure that you have all the pieces in place in order to be profitable. Let's talk about how volume starts to accumulate. I tell you, when I get to this part of the marketing plan, all of a sudden my heart starts skipping beats and getting excited, because I know as I start developing this, I'm one step closer. Each time I add another person to my business and stay in depth and help them, I'm one step closer to having financial independence where I have ongoing income. So here's what happens. As you teach, manage, and support people in your business, having each one apply, create, qualify, and activate, and as you continue to sponsor and place people in depth, what happens is Market America does a search. It does a search of volume that's going to allow you to have all the volume linked to each other, and that volume is going to be searched to infinity. So take a look at this chart here. You notice you have your business, and you notice you have a left and a right side, indicated by the dotted line going down the middle. On your left side, you notice there's a group of distributors here that are personally using product, they're personally developing customers, and they are expanding distribution. Same thing on the right side. There's a group of the distributors doing the same thing. On Friday night, Market America's computers do a magical thing. They switch on, and it does a system search all the way down to the bottom of every single business on the left, and it goes all the way down to the bottom of the right, and it looks for every single business volume that's been produced there as well. It's kind of fun to watch this happen. Let's just take one distributor and follow how volume is tracked and linked to the next person. Let's take Kim. When Kim produces volume, it'll go either into her business, it'll go right in her 001 at this point, since there's nobody under her. But her volume then is going to track to the right side of Cheryl. Cheryl and Kim's volume will track to the left side of A and B Inc. Those three will track to the right side of Tom. Those four will then track volume back up to your business volume banks. The same thing's taking place on the right side. You have Ron, who's linked to Frank, Frank who's linked to Ann and Ben who's linked to Sue. All four of them are linked to your right side, and that volume will flow up, connecting each person into your right side of your 001. And that's the case with every single person that is in business with you that you see on the screen here. Things start developing, expanding the customer base as viral marketing takes place, digital marketing, you have personal use going on. I love the fact that our business every week accumulates volume until you are paid on it. It's very difficult to understand how powerful this is at first, but you need to understand that our business model was designed so that you could make commissions based on lots of people's small efforts instead of you have to do everything. Isn't it time in your business, in your world, where you don't feel like you have to carry all the weight yourself? It's fun to partner, and it's fun to work with people that are positive, headed in the right direction. Our business system, as this searches to infinity, is going to reward every single person. The next thing I want to point out here on this particular slide is this. Because we get profit from the newest person, volume flows up. When I spend time in working here, what I'm going to do is I'm going to focus on the newest person. Sue, Ann and Ben, Frank are all going to focus with Ron as well. Tom, A and B Inc., Cheryl are all going to focus with Kim. Because every piece of profit we help Kim make, every piece of profit we help Ron make, everybody gets credit for it. And so it really removes this competitive part that is in traditional business and allows us to make money as we move forward.